Analyst. Good evening and welcome to ATN Politics today.
Good evening, Victor.
How are you doing?
I'm good, and you?
I'm very well, thank you. It's good to have you today on ATN Politics.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Well, let's delve right into our stories for today. Lere Olayinka, Federal Capital Territory FCT Minister, Wike's Senior Special Assistant on Public Communications and Social Media, has said that it was unfortunate that some elders in Rivers State who played ostrich when suspended Governor Siminalayi Fubara was acting like an emperor and now speaking like children who lost their most prized toys. Olayinka, in a statement on Thursday, described as funny and unfortunate that the former governor of Rivers State, Ada George, who was among those clapping for Fubara when he was sitting on the salary and other entitlements of fellow indigents of Rivers State, who are members of the State House of Assembly, is now speaking on who should be blamed for the state of emergency in the state. Well, during a media briefing, Ada George had accused the FCT minister of orchestrating the ongoing political crisis in Rivers State, including the imposition of a state of emergency and the appointment of sole administrator in all 23 local government areas. Responding, the FCT minister's spokesperson, who said people like Ada George lacked what it takes to be called an elder, said, unlike these people masquerading as Rivers elders and leaders forum, genuine elders sit in position of neutrality when there are conflicts among younger ones so that they will enjoy credibility and respect while sitting on the high table to resolve the issues. He also went ahead to say when Fubara was orchestrating the burning and demolition of the Rivers State House of Assembly, supposed elders like Ada George were hailing him. They were telling him it was normal for 3 members to run a House of Assembly of 32 members with 11 as quorum of 1/3 that can sit and 22 as 2/3 that can pass budgets, while telling Ada George and his Rivers Elders and Leaders Forum to blame themselves for taking side when they should be neutral. Olayinka also said, the moment an elder takes side in a conflict between 2 children, such an elder has lost the rights to intervene and resolve the conflict. Well, Dr. Henry, let me get your reactions to this coming from the FCT's minister's spokesperson, Lere Olayinka, where he claims that what's former Governor Ada George and the Rivers State Elders Forum are accusing Wike of is causing a political crisis in Rivers State. What's your reaction to this?
Thank you very much. What happened here in Rivers State is this very unfortunate situation that is not something we should be clapping hands, beating drums, dancing, because it affects the prestige of the state. That is one. 2, Rivers State is known as one of the pivotal states in the federating unit called Nigeria. And so if something of this magnitude is happening, and those whom we expected decorum to shown in all aspects of their speeches, could turn around to make mockery of the state, is something that that should be called for worry. Why am I saying that? Because since the declaration of state emergency here in Rivers State, precisely on March 28, 2025, is something everybody should be worried. How do we get back on track? That should be the major thing that should be discussed in all fora. But as it stands currently, in fact, no remedy at all. Now, back to what has happened so far. Looking at what the sole administrator was expected to be doing. Because while he was sent here in the state, during that declaration or that proclamation of state of emergency on Rivers State, was to come and ensure that peace is maintained within these 6 months. But from what has happened so far, it is a clear indication that the Nigerian law, which is the ground norm, it is no longer respected.
Okay.
And so that has made a whole lot of persons to question the veracity of our constitution. Is it still working? Is it still implementing? Is it still doing all that is expected a ground norm to be doing? Or this ground norm is only enforced when it affects some persons, and it is not enforcing when it affects some persons too. I think these are the biggest questions that people have asked so far. But be it as it may, one should understand that the rain that falls does not affect one person. It will affect all and sundry, residing in that particular locality. Rivers State should have been a place in the Niger Delta that should be an enviable state, a state that should provide that leadership that's expected, a place that when we see economically, we should stand and beat our chests and say that, look, Rivers State should be a place that we should be talking about every now and then. But looking at what is playing out currently, it calls for worry. In fact, it makes us to see as an intentional act that aim at ridiculing and push Rivers State, in fact, 10 years backward.
All right. Let's also look at what Olayinka, the FCT minister's spokesperson, says here. He says that the former governor, that's Ada George, and other elders have lost credibility, when they supported Governor Siminalayi, the now suspended Governor Siminalayi Fubara, during his controversial actions like the burning down of the demolition of the State House of Assembly, and also failing to remain neutral in this regard. So the question is, do you think that this accusation of, let's say, the former governor as well as other elders playing ostrich and burying his word now, playing ostrich during Fubara's action holds any weight?
The kind of politics that is playing in this part of the world, it's something that you may not have that specific word of trying to define exactly what is playing out.
Okay.
It goes to showcase the interest of these politicians as it concerns the matter currently. You see, no matter how we think that we are elder statesmen, politicians, and so on and so forth, if the interest of the state is not paramount in our actions, in our doing, in whatever we do, as a people who respect the right of every citizen, then it means that something is wrong somewhere.
All right.
Now, back to the questions you're asking. This is time not to apportion blame on any aspect, on anybody, on any person. Like I said when I started, that the reason why the sole administrator sent here in the state, why he was sent here, is to come and maintain peace and security of the state. That is, if you listen to the speech of Mr. President on that 28th of March, when the state of emergency was declared, that was in fact, that was the major thing why the sole administrator was sent here to come and do. But from what is playing out, let us call a spade a spade. It means that it is not why the sole administrator was sent here in the state. And how do you expect people to see all of these anomalies happening in Rivers State to close their mouth and not saying anything?
All right. Well, my question was that the elders, the Wike spokesperson here says that the elders, as well as the former governor, Ada George, were aware of the now suspended governor's actions, such as demolishing the House of Assembly and other things. Now, the question is, do you see this as a fair critic, or is just something that that we say there are more context to what we are saying?
You see, when we talked about fair critics or no critics, what everybody should be doing at the moment is to see how Rivers State, as one of the federating unit here in Nigeria, should bounce back to its democratic path, that we are functioning as a nation. Not all of this, because all is still boiled down to politicking. But who has all of this help? Who has all of this help? Is the biggest question. No matter, okay, now if you look at what the elder statement, the former governor of the Rivers State that I just said, he said, look, that before even now he has called on the former governor of the state, that is the current FCT minister, and the current governor of Rivers State. He said, look, you must put heads together to ensure that peace reign in River State. It means that at the beginning, I don't think he was taking sides.
Well, it's just yesterday
Because that's
he just said that Wike, the now FCT minister, is the mastermind behind the crisis in River State. I mean, that's his statement, and that's what actually sparked up this reaction from the Wike's spokesperson.
In all of this, when you look at this matter objectively, even the speech of the president that declared state of emergency here, it was one-sided. Now, if two persons are fighting for one particular thing, and both groups, are not seen as an instrument that may be responsible for such conflict and only targeting one side, it is not the right thing to be done. I am not supporting anybody, but the state of emergency declared here in River State has taken River State backward.
All right.
And so all stakeholders, what they should be doing, not to be taking side, what they should be doing currently is to ensure how do we get back to the main track.
All right. I quite like the fact that you say they are not supposed to be taking sides.
But
in everything that just played out now, do you see this former governor as well as other elders taking side in this issue right now?
Yes, they do. Yes, they did.
Which that means you're saying that the spokesperson is right.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you.
Okay.
Now, when you talked about the position of the former governor, that is Ada George, FCT minister is also a former governor of the state.
All right.
What is his position as is regard this matter?
Okay, so on which part would
No.
Is
Is it sometimes when we are talking about it should play a role that should make sure that River State is bounced back, because no matter what we are doing, River State is bigger than every individual residing here in the state.
All right. So on which
So
part
the
would
plight
you say,
of the state should be
would you say
paramount.
the former governors is siding? Or which part would you say he is supporting?
Which of the former governor? Is it the FCT?
Ada
The
George.
FCT?
No, not the FCT minister.
I don't think that man has supported any of this group. But he said, look, make sure that the right thing is done.
Okay,
you understand my point? Because when you talk about supporting, that's why I am not here.
So let's get this clear.
Victor,
when you say that the former governor is one-sided, are you referring to the former minister, the former governor of Rivers, the now minister?
If it's not one-sided, so
Judge himself?
what is happening? What is happening? Because what is happening currently, can prove the fact that all of this thing boil down and still pointing to one side.
All right. Well, if you are referring to the FCT, if you are referring to the
pointing
FCT,
to one side. So what role has he played, as well as the other the former governor, that's Ada George?
Okay.
What role have they played to make sure that peace reigns here in the state?
Dr. Henry, if you are referring to the now FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, could you say that his influence might at some point realistically extend to orchestrating a state of emergency in Rivers State?
That cannot be rolled out. Mark my words. I am not saying factual. I say that cannot be rolled out. When you look at the matter very objectively and then take everything that is needed to apply in explaining this matter, then you can understand, and it could also be traced to that point. But all I'm saying is that it is high time that all these playing games and blaming games has to stop. If River State must move forward.
Well,
and if they don't, then don't forget that this matter cannot end anytime soon. Because
I like the fact that you're saying that it's not going to end anytime soon. I was actually coming to that.
It's not going to end anytime soon, because this 6 months, because nobody knows what will happen at the end of the first 6 months.
All right. So what's your take on this, the broader implications of this part we're seeing in River State? The political instability and all of that. You just made mention that it's not going to end anytime soon. So would you say, or how would you advise the both parties to play their cards so that we will be able to have this done away with?
The politics of trying to vent your anger, politics of trying to make sure that what happens should be in my favor, should not be what they should be looking at right now.
All right.
Because as long as that takes the center stage, both sides will still play the same thing to make sure that they see or know who will become the winner at the end of the day. And the larger segment of the Rivers people would be the one that will suffer as long as this matter is concerned here.
Well, we cannot tell for sure at this point. We cannot tell for sure.
But because what is playing out is a very clear indication, because people of the River State is expecting development.
All right.
Economic development.
All right.
Education, to be of the highest peak.
So
healthcare and all of that.
All right.
And all of these are happening. The other day, somebody was complaining seriously of dirty littering almost major part of the state capital. And before now, we don't used to see all of these things happening. So which means governance is somehow lacking in administering what is expected here in the state. I don't want to go back to what the law says or what the law is not saying.
All right.
A lot of persons are saying, look, these things has happened already. Which way forward? But from what is playing out, it's like there are some persons who will even be happy, or is even happy that, look, this thing should continue. Because whether we like it or not, some persons are benefiting from this ugly situation that is facing the state, while the larger majority of the Rivers people are not benefiting from this.
All right. I would like to come in. I would like to ask you, based on your statement you just said, just this last question before we move on to the next theory. Well, would you say that for the past few weeks that we've had the sole administrator in power, and now he's also appointing the 23, local government administrators as well, are you saying that the Rivers people are somehow not going to, enjoy the dividends of the rulership here?
You see, when we talked about the position of the sole administrator, constitutionally, there is no position like sole administrator. Let's face the matter very squarely. The Constitution, from the section that was mentioning, which, prompt Mr. President to declare that state of emergency, did not in any way make mention of a sole administrator. So whatever that is happening now, it is the wish of the president that leads to the appointment of a man that today saddled on the leadership of Riverside, which does not have a position in the Constitution. And each time I appear on any program, outside this place or here, I keep telling the people, if we stop telling ourselves the truth, because today it benefits me, tomorrow it might also go the other person's way, then will you also say the same thing that you are saying today?
All right.
Because constitutionally, the office of a governor is what the Constitution knows, not the office of a sole administrator.
All right.
So what is happening in Rivers State? What is happening in Rivers State? I want to conclude by saying that what is happening in Rivers State, the appointment of sole administrator for the 23 LGS, it is not known by the law. And again, constituting what you call the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commissions, this is not known by law. And by right, when you constitute such an important body that is an institution of the state, it must pass through the legislature for scrutiny and screening as well. Now you want to tell me that appointment of these people, how are they going to be screened? How are they going to? You see, there are a whole lot of constitutional infraction as long as this matter is concerned.
All right, Dr. Henry, let's leave that for now.